Hey y'all, today's video is a classic duping the vibes video. I am going to call it duping the vibes of the MAC Botanic Panic palette, but it's really like duping the vibes of everything that's trending this spring. So using what I own to do the looks that are trending right now. I think in many cases, especially for makeup lovers, especially for those of us who have any kind of small to medium collection, any kind of like robust collection of makeup, frequently we can do the stuff that's trending, the new trends. We can do that makeup with what we already own, at least some approximation of that makeup with what we already own, and don't need to buy the stuff that's new to the market. So this video is the process of that, like taking you through the process of looking at something that I'm attracted to that's new on the market, but instead of buying it, doing what I would do with it with what I already own. If you're new to my channel, then welcome. Hi, I'm Hannah. I love beautiful things. I do love makeup. I do have a curated and relatively robust collection of makeup, but I'm really into doing what I'm doing in this video, diving back into the stuff that I have in my hands instead of spending money and acquiring more stuff. So if beauty content like that sounds good to you, go ahead and subscribe right now, and let's get into the meat of the video. So what attracts me to MAC Botanic Panic? I'm not really a MAC person. I don't want to buy it. That's part of why I'm doing this. But when I saw it, I felt those feelings of recognition and excitement, inspiration, basically. And you know, the point of duping the vibes is that you can take that inspiration and run with it instead of being caused to buy the thing that you're inspired by. I'm looking at a picture of the palette, and I'll put a picture of the palette up on the screen. It's interesting because I don't see this as a palette that insinuates one specific look. Like, I don't look at it and think it's telling me with its color story what to do. It's got a lot of options. And when I look at it, I actually think of like putting just a matte purple all over the lids on one day, and just a shimmery blue all over the lids on another day, and just that bright yellow. You know, it's kind of like offering several different versions of simple eye looks. So I think that that's probably what I'm going to do, because duping the vibes is about putting yourself through the process, the mental exercise of using the thing, even though you don't have the thing. So I'm like looking at it and I'm like pretending that I have it. And I'm thinking, okay, what would I do? Like, what would I want to put on my face today, given what I decided to wear today and given how I'm feeling today? And I'll tell you how I'm feeling today. I really want a super glossy, really sunburny, really intense blush look. So I need to do something on my eyes that's not going to compete with that. I think if I had Botanic Panic before me on this day, I would be tempted to go for a shimmery pastel, because I feel like that's the thing that I've seen trending. Pastels, the trend of pastels kind of like comes and goes rapidly. It's like always here, and then it's always gone, and then it's always here. But the shimmery pastels, those metallic pastels, that's what I feel like I'm seeing in a lot of different brands right now. That's a little bit of a change from just like the matte pastel trend that's been coming and going. So I'm seeing like this shimmery sea green on the top row, shimmery blue on the second row, and I'm gonna look at what I have before me and see if there's anything that's reminiscent of that. So yeah, in the Kaleidos palette, there's this shimmery sea green Aloe Cove, which isn't an exact match for anything that's in the MAC Botanic Panic, but it's like the thing, it's something that I wouldn't necessarily think to use or be that excited about, except that the inspiration of Botanic Panic is making me reroute excitement to it. That's what I really like in duping the vibe. So maybe I'll use that. And then I also have this. So this is the Alva 2 eyeshadow palette from Odin's Eye. This blue bubble, it's like a baby blue. And there is a baby blue in Botanic Panic. I'm not sure it's shimmery, but it's definitely more, yeah, the baby blue is giving me something kind of fresh and something kind of Botanic Panic-y. Let's see the one in the Kaleidos palette. This is the one from the Kaleidos palette. It's looking very bright. I think I want to go for something a little bit softer. I think I'm going to go for this baby blue. This one right here. It might just be only that shadow that I use, because I feel like that's what I would be doing with Botanic Panic. I'm going to put it all over my lids and blend it out and then decide. Haven't even blended it out yet, and already I really love it. I live, laugh, love it. I feel like it's very of the moment. I feel like it's giving me something that is very popular right now that I wouldn't otherwise have done. I don't have a clean brush, BRB. Oh my gosh, if you had described this to me, I would have been worried that it was going to look kind of crazy town. But I actually feel like it doesn't. I actually feel like there's something quite fresh about it. I am going to go ahead and add some of the shadow to my lower lash line and buff it out just to make it look that much more intentional, that much more artistic, as opposed to like the way that a doll looks. Like I feel like with this kind of color, I'm always skirting looking like a Bratz doll, and I find that bringing it around the lower lash line helps to make it look a little bit less like a Bratz doll if I'm drifting into that territory. All right, and let's throw on some mascara to really bring this look alive. Wow, I really got lost in thought while I was applying my mascara just now, and I kind of forgot that I was filming. Here's the thing, it's a very simple, a weirdly simple version of duping the vibes. And I didn't expect this. Like when I'm duping the vibes, on camera or not, I don't come to it with like a predetermined concept of what I'm gonna be doing. I feel like the point of it is that when a new palette comes out, right, and we really want it, and it's really beautiful and it's really compelling, you're drawn to it, I think, a lot of the times in a way that's separate from actually envisioning what you would do with it. Or even if you envision what you would do with it, that envisioning often has a quality of fantasy. Like you're not actually holding your feet to the fire about what you would do with it. You're not actually being realistic about how it would go between you and that palette. You just have this fantastical, sort of like vague, dreamy idea of how you'll look or how you'll feel or be or how your eyes will look or how people will see you if you have the palette and you use it. When I sit down to dupe the vibes, a lot of times it's a palette that I've been attracted to, like this one. I've talked about it already in a couple of videos and I've looked at the picture several times. But sitting down to dupe the vibes, this is the first time that I've actually simulated for myself the act of opening it and using it. It's the first time I've actually practically applied to myself the concept of the palette in action, in actuality. I hope that this is making sense. What I'm trying to say is that I have been attracted to this palette, but I haven't known what kind of looks I would make with it. And so my attraction has been, in a way, a fantasy. And if I were to buy it based on that attraction, I'd be buying a fantasy instead of buying something real. So by duping the vibes, I have asked myself very literally and really, like for real, what I want to put on my eyes with these shadows in the MAC palette. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, what do I want to put on my eyes? And then I've picked what I want and I've done it. I do really like it, but the good news for me is that I didn't need to buy Botanic Panic to do it. And then the other thing that I learned is that looking at this palette and all these colors together, even though it has a color story, I'm really only interested in monochromatic looks from this color story. So I ended up with a monochromatic look. Usually duping the vibes involves like putting colors together and building a color story, but that's something that I learn as I go through the process. And what I learned going through the process of this is that I'm actually not interested in putting any of these colors together with each other. I'm only interested in them basically as singles. So that's an even stronger argument, actually the strongest argument for not being interested in buying it, because if you're only looking at a single palette as a collection of singles, then just pursue the few individual colors that you're the most attracted to. I already have them, but if I didn't, I could just buy a couple singles and be done with it. I am going to slightly amend what I want to do with the rest of my face. I told you already about my vision of like the super, super glossy sunburny cheek. The reason that I want to do that is I'm sort of duping the vibes of something else that I want, which is this Givenchy Prism Libre blush in Organza Sienne. I don't think that's super glossy. I'm adding the glossiness today, but I do want to apply like a powder blush that has the qualities of the colors of that powder blush and just remind myself that I don't need that. But because I want a super glossy cheek to go along with that, I brought Marilyn, which is the JD Glow highlighter that my friend Lacey gave to me as a gift. I brought it over here. I'm gonna start by applying it by itself all over my cheeks, and then I'm just gonna top with the color. So I think that because of this eye look, because of how it ended up, I'm leaning a little bit away from the like intense blush draping of the look, and I'm gonna go for something that's just super, super shiny and glossy, and then has some color to it. My cheeks are already glossy because of the products that I have underneath my base. Like I think it's the combination of Chanel and Auric glowy primers or glowy liquids again. But I'm gonna add to that with Marilyn. This looks very old school to me. This glossy powder cheek right here, that's like old school YouTube. I do love a super bright highlighter, but I don't like it when the reflect of the highlighter is so thick that it covers up the color underneath, that it like cancels out the color. So that's why I'm putting the highlighter on first. I'm going to go in with the blushes on top, and they'll kind of like meld together and it'll stay really bright, but it'll look like one thing rather than stripes of different powder products. So let's start with the Kevyn Aucoin Neo Bronzer in Sunrise Light. This is technically a bronzer, but it's a really rosy toned bronzer, and it's a beautiful sort of sunburny blush for me. I'm just gonna mix it together. It's supposed to be like a gradient. It is kind of a gradient, like light to dark. I'm mixing it together. I'm just using it as one. This product does have a little bit of its own glow to it, but that intense glossiness that we're seeing there, that's the Marilyn highlighter from JD Glow shining through. The color is also there. It's stronger in person. The color of the blush and that sort of the look where like the blushiness is coming right up under the eye, so it kind of looks like I got sun. It's stronger in person. I feel like the way that it looks in the monitor, and maybe it'll be more accurate in the actual footage, but the way it looks on the monitor, it's like the lights are reflecting so much off of that highlighter, the underlayer of highlighter, that it's obscuring the color a little bit. But in person, it's very satisfactory. It's like exactly what I was envisioning. It does look like I've gotten some sun, but it looks like ultra glossy, like a super, super reflective version of having gotten some sun. And I think that that goes well with the eyes. You know what I mean? It's a statement cheek in its own way, but it's not competing with an eye that is a statement eye in its own way. They're both kind of like a light version, a light, simple version of a statement. The question is, and I think the answer is going to be yes. The question is, should I go ahead and put NARS Pussy Control on my lips? Because Botanic Panic, the MAC collection, that's the other thing that really attracted me about it, is this purple lipstick. It's not what I would do if I were gonna wear this look out. I would definitely do something neutral, maybe even just leave like the lip balm on that I have. But I'm gonna go ahead and put it on because I feel like I can't dupe the vibes of this collection without doing it. And if I go on to film something else, I'll probably change out the lip, but just for the sake of the video, let's do it. Okay, color-wise, it's actually not as bad as I was expecting it to be. I don't feel like it's as much of a... I was expecting it to be sort of discordant. I was expecting the color palette to feel kind of discordant, but I actually think that, it's just color blocking. It's like the green of the earring, the purple of the lip, the blue of the eye. It's just like three strong, individual, clean colors. There's a quirkiness to it, but it feels intentional. It's as if there were a print that had all of these colors in it. Baby blue, grungy purple, and sort of a forest green and black and white. And I think that those would be beautiful colors for a print. So it's working. However, the matte quality and the depth of it, the slight grunginess that I always kind of forget about with Pussy Control, I feel like those are what are incongruous. Those are the qualities that are making it incongruous. I actually think if I apply a gloss on top of this to brighten it up a little bit, it might sing better. So let me try that. I was hoping for my Tower 28 gloss, but I can't find it. That's the only sheer glitter gloss that I have, but I don't know where it is. I'm gonna try tapping some of Glossier Lucite on top. It's this ultra lip that is like quite a pale color. So it's also going to, I think, change the color and maybe make it lighter. I applied Lucite with my fingers, then I blotted it, and then I applied it straight from the bullet. So it definitely had quite an effect. It lightened it up and made it a little bit pinker, and it gave it that glossy finish. And I do feel like it suits better. It doesn't look quite as awkward. I felt like there was something about the application of that kind of velvet matte formula that wasn't sitting quite right. Or maybe it's the combination of the color with that formula that doesn't work as well as this formula does in other colors. In any case, I do feel like this is much more wearable. It just feels like the formula is sitting better on my lips, and I think that the effect, it's more neutral, it's more natural, and it's melding better overall with the rest of my look. I actually could see myself leaving this on to go somewhere or to film another video or something now that I've mixed it with the other product. And that is it. I like it. I also feel very Botanic Panic. Like, I would believe it of myself if I was like, I bought the entire Botanic Panic collection and I did a first impressions and this is what I ended up looking like, because looking at everything on my face, including the sheeny kind of color, because they released with this collection what are they called? Like Ultra Dimension or whatever, the skin finishes, and one of them has some color to it and the other one is just like a super glossy pale champagne. So it's really similar to the two products that I put on my cheeks. I wasn't even thinking about that, but this is definitely like a Botanic Panic look. Like, I am picking up what they're putting down. I'm just doing it with the products that I already own. I hope that you enjoyed watching this. I hope that it inspires you to dupe the vibes of anything that you might be interested in, even if it's something that you had a passing interest in, but then you feel confident that you're not gonna buy. It's still lovely. It still really opens aesthetic doors and windows to go through the process. Like, I wasn't actually going to buy Botanic Panic. It's not like I just saved myself from myself by doing this, but I was curious what I would do with it. And I feel like I learned something and I got something out of it that I definitely wouldn't if I had not pursued that inspiration. So give it a try. Let me know in the comments if there's anything that you'd like to see me dupe the vibes of, especially something that's new to the market. And don't forget to take extra good care of yourself today so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.